Hi guys, welcome to Rootstem and welcome to this Kill Team unboxing. Hi guys, thank you very much for joining me. If you do enjoy the content, please consider liking, sharing, subscribing at the end of this video. And today we're basically doing a quick unboxing of the new Kill Team set, which of course comes with a T'au and a Sisters of Battle or Adepta Sororitas kill team. These kill teams are supposed to be sort of like the kill team that's in the Adepta Sororitas, supposed to be young sisters that I think they're called Novitiate, or somebody that's basically, you know, on the way to become a fully fledged battle sister. I'm hoping there's going to be some rules eventually for this particular unit in 40k, because it's one of the reasons I actually purchased the box set, because I do like it. I do like my Sisters of Battle, as well as my Crimson Fists and all my other I like everything, you know. I've got a faction apart from T'au. For some reason I'm not particularly keen on T'au, but I'm going to keep these guys. I'm going to paint them up and see what I can do with them. Right, now this particular box I got wasn't sealed. The corner was a little bit battered, so I do apologise, but it wasn't a sealed box, unfortunately for me. But it doesn't look like it's like the same as the others. If we just go down here, as you can see, it's kind of like a tab system. So I've already opened that, but it's just opening up like a generic box. Now I've not opened this yet, so I'm going to drag out the contents and let's see what we've got. Now I think this is retailing currently with Workshop for about £106, and let's be fair, it is an expansion. I'm not quite sure if we're going to be getting any rules in here. We do have a sprue. I'm going to do that because it's against my lovely black carpet. Oh, that's actually a rug. But we've got a nice little bit of a sprue there with the T'au pieces on it. Doesn't look any different from any normal pieces that you would normally get. Of course, we've got the giant terrain pieces. I do actually quite like these pieces, even though they aren't massive. They're good for doing a modular terrain piece. And at the moment, there's 2 sprues of those guys. So let's give it, so far it's 4 walls on those. I'll shove them over there. We've got another little sprue with the additions for the sisters on. This looks like some extra arms, some close combat weapons, a flamer, a standard of some description. There's probably going to be multiple ways of actually arming these sisters. It'll be interesting to find out what everything does. Big sprue. It's got a combination. Is it combination or is it just pure sisters? Nope, this is just, by the looks of this, pure sisters. Another standard. Some more sisters outfits that look like quite light armour. And I think we've got some auto guns in these sisters here. This is quite interesting. Some auto weapons rather than bolt weapons. Yeah, flurry of auto guns, some swords, some auto pistols. There's some bolters in there, of course, and a plasma pistol, so it's a good mix of old and new technologies. We will see when we're actually building those things. Some more walls. These are still in the grey plastic. The last time I got these was last kill team, and they came in that, it was kind of like a yellowy plastic. So I'm a little bit perplexed looking at these, because I'm kind of like, I've not seen them before in the generic plastic colour. Even more. This is actually quite a hefty box. It is quite weighty, and I'm putting that down to the fact that it contains quite a bit of terrain. So if you are looking for a starter set that's got quite a bit of generic 40k terrain, this might be your go-to. Yeah, quite a lot here. Some various different corners. Quite nice. I know it keeps staring at my black background, but it's nice to actually be able to see everything. There's some more floor sections. That's the archway. And of course, we're going to have the T'au piece. Now, I've not really seen many T'au pieces. Do we have a copyright date on this? You used to. 2012. So this is a 10-year-old kit for the T'au that you're getting in here. So if you're not actually a T'au player, it might not be recommended to purchase these. But I mean, I don't have T'au at all, so this will be quite and this will be quite a novelty and be quite nice for me to start. I mean, that's a hefty drone piece there. I have seen those before. Do like quite some of the rifles, snipers. That'll be quite interesting to go against in the game. And then we've got a nice little bit of artwork, just separating the plastics from what I'm guessing is the rules and the icons, and of course the base. So that comes away. What have we got in here? So this is just, that looks like it's just going to be the new set of these particular rules, this war zone as it were, and how to build the buildings. We've then got bases, flying stands, and we've got another board. So I always like a good new kill team board. This will probably be more generic and better for me in the while playing with that particular set, although I might actually create a kill team one. Sorry, a city fight style kill team eventually. That will look quite nice to play across. Okay, so the rule book is, well, it's not a rule book, it's basically like a battles book for these two particular kill teams and the terrain that you've got. It's got your usual sort of narrative stuff of names. Quite like, this is kind of role play, and it's a shame it's only limited to a couple of pages, to be honest, because I do like the fact that Games Workshop does actually started to provide a bit more of this. There's a couple of stories in here just to try and keep people interested in what's happening between both of the actual factions, and we get a little description of T'au empires and T'au. Pretty much the same sort of standard stuff you got in that art book in the previous edition. Now, you don't get a rule book, unfortunately, in this box. It is literally just it's a very expensive expansion. I mean, I think it's 106 pounds from Workshop currently. It is a very expensive expansion just to be able to stick it and not actually have a rule book for your kill teams, really. The next sort of set, of course, is going to be the the Novitiates, according to my speak program. Yes. This is just kind of now starting to go into the rules of the Novitiates and, of course, the Pathfinders. You've got the different types of Novitiates that you can actually take. Now, I do believe, because you get one Sister Superior or Novitiate Superior, and then it's 9 of these, and then you get 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8. I think I was about to say, I think there's more than 9 options. So that's going to be a little tricky when you're putting together your kill team to see whether or not you're wanting certain loadouts. Because apparently you can take 2 what's called a Purgatus. Now, a Purgatus is one that can actually have a flamer, which does come with these Inferno rules where you can set stuff on fire, which is quite cool. But having more options than you've got models is a little frustrating in my personal opinion. You've also got faith points for these sisters. They gain 3 faith points to begin with and 1 every time. They get 1 or 3 faith points at the beginning of a turn and 1 for this stuff that happens, which is normally killing stuff or having stuff being killed. And then you've got where you can retain additional attack dice. You can reroll failed hits. You've got Emperor's Protection and Blessed Rejuvenations where you can regroup up to D3 lost wounds. I believe this has been put in because the other kill team is about 13 models strong. That includes the drones. I think that includes the drones. That might not include the drones. Drones might be addition. So the balance of the kill team is a little off, especially since majority of this lot are close combat and the majority of T'au tend to be shooting. Some little strategic ploys, not loads. You've only got about 4, which I suppose is more than what you... Well, no, actually, no. The sisters get a bit more, don't they, in the other set. But you do get about 4 in this. And then, of course, you've got your 3 different tactical ploys that you can actually use. Glorious Martyrdom, where people can suffer mortal wounds if they take you out. Burning Wrath, where you upgrade the Flamer for a turn, giving it one of those Inferno 2. So you've got 2 markers to set people on light. Reroll your attack dice for Righteous Condemnation. And, of course, perform a free shoot action with your Defenders of the Faith. Although that's 2 CP. That's quite a lot for an additional shot and fight. Again, it's probably going to be down to how you are going to arm your kill team. I'm not sure if this kill team is going to be strong enough to go against the other T'au kill team. I think there might be a slight imbalance on there, but then these, if played properly, might actually balance it up. Now the stats are pretty much standard human fare: 2 action points, 3 defense, 3 movement, save of 4+, 7 wounds. I don't know if that's the same as guard or less. I think Eldar get 8. And then of course you've got the superior with the 3+ armor. She can have a slight variety of weapons, but you do have some quite nice little bonus actions and abilities for the sisters. I mean, you've got this one, what's known as a burning advance. For 1 action point, you can dash and perform a shoot. The penitent with the eviscerator, which is quite a nice weapon. 5 and 6 brutal and reap 2, pretty good. But the eviscerator is able to smash people with you can perform 2 fight actions with that sister. Especially with your righteous seal, you can start in the roll attack dice step. You can reroll any of all of your attack dice. Especially mixed it in with brutal. That's pretty cool because you can't counter it. And then of course there's always the auto pistol, so it's not just pure close combat on that sister there. The normal sisters of course can be either close combat or shoot to shoot. Why you'd have normal sisters with a group activation of 1, maybe with the auto guns, when you've got such a variety in this book, is beyond me, but you might need that range. If anyone's good at magnetizing, I highly recommend you try and magnetize a lot of these if you possibly can. There's ones with cups and relics, ones with whips, although I'm not quite sure. You can add 1 to that operative's action point limit. Select 1 novitiate operative, excluding any superiors within 3 inches and visible. Add 1 to the APL. In addition, to that, the penitent operative until the end. All right, okay. A penitent operative till the end of the next activation adds a movement characteristic. So effectively, what it's saying is you got to have this and that one in conjunction for it to really kind of work. That's quite cool, to be honest with you. Hospitalia, that model might actually just get repurposed anyway and then just chucked into sort of maybe like a guard squad, because that would be like a cool looking, a medic. You never know in 40k. Plant different icons, 1 action point. There's many abilities. It'll take ages to actually go through, and like I said, there's quite a lot of different units for you to be able to pick from, which is going to be a struggle because again you've only got 9 models. You've got 10 models. Well, 9 models really, because one of them is going to be superior. The rest of them you're going to have to choose on what you want from these guys, and I'm not quite sure why you would pick normal folk over these. I honestly don't get it. Don't know why you would pick normal guys over a lot of this special close combat stuff. It's quite close in kill team anyway, but I suppose it all depends on what opponent you're going against. Your equipment is not the greatest. There's not a hell of a lot of stuff in here. I mean, still, Space Marines on the compendium book are getting a hell of a lot more than what you're getting with dedicated kill teams in here. So, book up your ideas, Workshop, Christ's sake. Pretty much a very standard fare list with your frag and crack grenades. That's quite good. This chaplet is quite good where it might add an additional action point, but you've got to get a 6, so it's only a 1 in 6 chance. I can see majority of people using the adamantium weave, which upgrades your actual save to a 3 rather than it being a 4+. But nothing that screams out to me that is fantastic. Then of course you get into the Spec Ops rules where you've got your battle honors, and then you've got your rarer equipment that you can possibly get hold of, you know, when you actually, if you're doing a bit of a campaign with these, including strategic assets. These are not really done for any of your sort of match play or quick play games. These are for when you're playing a campaign, an ongoing campaign between these 2 particular forces. Then you get to the Pathfinders. Like I say, you get 1 Shazwi, and then the rest of them are Shazlar Pathfinders or Blooded or Drone Controllers. So you're getting a lot of models, I do think. I think what they've done is just looked at what you get with a 2012, as we found out from the copyright, set on what Pathfinders, on what kit you can get, and then kind of made a Pathfinder team out of that, which is a little annoying, I must admit. So some of the special rules for the Pathfinder team is Art of War. Of course, we all know that from your original T'au. Then you've got your Markalites. Markalites give you different benefits. It's like a shoot action and same activation, only target from shoot, can't attack. It's a very odd, it's like a 1 action point limit, so I think you can fire that and then you can still fire a normal shoot action as well. Your strategic ploys, again, you've only got about 4 again. They're all not convoluted, but they're just a little bit bland. They're not that great, if I'm completely honest. They're not particularly flavorful, if I'm being truthful. They do just seem a little kind of just shoved together. So I feel like all the attention has been paid to the sisters stat lines, and then everything else has kind of been chucked together as a little bit of an afterthought. Now, surprisingly, looking at the stats for the T'au, you've got a standard action point limit. They've got 7 wounds, very human-like. But they've got a 5-up save. Now, I did think T'au Pathfinder teams had a 4-up armor. I thought they had the same armor as their Fire Warrior counterparts. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe because I don't really play T'au that much, or even against T'au that much, if I'm honest, in the 40k game, that I'm just confusing it with something. But I did think that they had a 4-up save. But obviously they don't. We're a bit more like guardsmen with fancier tech. Their pulse carbine weapon doing a 4-5 damage is quite devastating. We've got quite a few silent weapons as well. Now, silent allows you to be able to move and shoot even when you've got a conceal order on. So it's always beneficial to do so. The Blooded Pathfinder as well does have a 4-up save, so they look like they're probably going to be on a bionic arm. All right, okay. You might be finding that majority of these Pathfinder teams will have one of those guys in. Drone controller, you'll probably have one of those, every single one. And then, oh, you've got a medical technician. Now, I wonder if some of these are coming with those little extra bits that we found in our little set. I'll go back and have a look at it. So this is a 2021 piece. This is kind of like an upgrade sprue to the original 2012 Pathfinder kit. I wish Workshop had done more of these and sell them separately. The Imperial Guard heads come to mind with their latest ones. It's quite nice when you can actually have, like, oh, you've got your standard guardsmen or you've got your standard Pathfinders, but hey, let's include an upgrade sprue and people can start doing some really fancy stuff with them. They used to do it with the Space Marines, shoulder pads, but they seem to have moved away from that again, really. Anyway, after that little diversion, we've got some other specialists, like a communication specialist, a medical specialist, an assault grenadier specialist. I feel like marksman, don't know why you wouldn't have 2 of them. Weapon expert Pathfinder with an ion rifle. That looks like it's going to be, oh, it's an unlimited range, because of course there's no range, so an unlimited range kind of mini plasma gun. Standard is 4.5. 5 shots, so an extra shot. I'm not quite sure why you'd want to do that, and I'd rather have a rail rifle. But why would you have a weapon expert with a rail rifle, and then this one with, oh, marksman Pathfinder with a rail rifle's got a different ammunition type. Ooh, that's fancy. And then, of course, you've got your drones. And there's about 4 different types of drones for you to be able to be able to pick. To sound like it's a collection. I suppose it is. If you're a collector of these things, then you would actually want to collect. Apologies for the camera shake. Collect some more of these particular. You would want to collect some of these particular models, but I cannot see why. I think there's a lot less options here, but there's more models. So you've got a lot more. You're going to be able to take a lot more of these specialists than your regular troopers, and it's a shame. Again, it's a shame they've not done like a 12v12. It would have been nice to have a few more of the sisters to be able to take some more of that those specialist people. So I've managed to finally get over speaking over my words, and I'm doing it again already. A little bit more on the equipment list, and then of course you've got your special rules, your strategic assets, your rare equipment. Nothing again that's screaming out to me, telling me to play kill team campaigns. I'd rather just make a kill team and stick it into a 40k campaign that's going on, and then give somebody a benefit for an ongoing narrative campaign. It just feels like that's the right way to go about with kill team. Now, here's the 2 pages of what I would normally consider the meat and potatoes of this box set. It's how to use 40k terrain effectively in these games. Now, what we're actually adding here is a little bit of complexity to... I actually have been using these type of terrain pieces in my games of Kill Team. As you could probably see, I might put a link or something up there, just connecting it to the battle reports that we've been, me and Bev especially, have been playing on the channel, trying to get through as many different types of Kill Team as I have models for. These have been the terrain pieces that we've actually mainly been using on a lot of our actual Kill Team games. So it's nice to see that we've now got a door. Basically, a door just allows you to move through the terrain piece as if it was open. So I'm guessing you can still... Looks like they're being quite polite. They weren't born in a barn, and they are shutting the door after themselves by the looks of it. But you can move through that part of the terrain as if it wasn't there. You just got to make sure that you're not half and half, that you've got it through completely. Hatches allow you to scale up and down without it being on an edge. So if you're on this piece of terrain, you haven't got to be there to be able to get up. You can literally be underneath that hatch. In fact, oh look, that piece of terrain's got a hatch and a door. Even though that piece of terrain is completely different to this piece of terrain, because it's got an archway. I don't get that, but there you go, workshop, that's fine. Hatch allows you to move up and down a lot easier. You just move up, an operative can move vertically through this part of the terrain feature was not there. Makes sense again. Sensible people closing the hatch after themselves. And then you've got this, the main piece of terrain with this scalable and punishing vantage point. Now, I believe scalable has been put... I think that's been put into an errata. I'm not 100% sure. I will check when I'm editing this video. But I'm sure that this has been put into an errata in the current Kill Team, where you do it in increments. So if that's 2 and a little bit, normally you were counting that as 3 movement pieces. Now apparently the 2 and a little bit just means that that counts as 2, leaving you with an inch either side to be able to get on or off the terrain piece. And then it's this punishing vantage point. Now, we have had a few games where effectively people have been on punishing what's now considered punishing vantage points. We've just been counting them as vantage points. Apparently, if it's that part of the terrain feature on here, so these pieces have got this punishing one, if you are the attacker, you can retain a hit as if you were not in cover, so you can automatically hit. That's pretty good, to be honest with you. That's nice little counter to the automatic. If you're in cover, you can automatically save. Oh, well, that's only if the target is not in cover. So if the target is out in the open, chops away, you're going to be able to punish those guys quite nicely. And then each time an operative makes a shooting attack before rolling defense dice for the shooting attack, if a target is on a punishing vantage point and at least 2 circles, so 4 inches higher. Don't know where you would do that, because let's be fair, with these pieces of terrain, from a model's head to a model's base is less than 4 inches. So that to me would probably mean the bottom of the base to the bottom of the base of the opposing model. That's how I would interpret it. 2 of those is 4 inch, and then 4 inches. In fact, no, that's 6 inch. No, is it? No, it's 4 inches. So 4 inches is not going to be enough. You're going to have a model directly underneath that guy on top. This is going to have to be an ultimate multi-story for that to actually kick in properly. So for me, that does not count. That's just literally saying if you're 4 inch from the base to base, then they gain cover because, of course, of the overlapping vantage. They are able to use the ledge as a cover piece. Makes sense, to be honest. Although if I've been playing with these terrain pieces, I've been putting a little bit of something there anyway. Now, this is a little bit interesting. All parts of a ruined wall feature have a heavy trait, apparently. So that's a little bit weird because of how heavy works in Kill Team. I'm still not 100% sure on how heavy works in Kill Team. I'm always counting these little things as light just because it makes the game run faster and is a hell of a lot easier. If you watch the recent battle report, if you've got Warhammer Plus, don't know why, but if you've got Warhammer Plus and you watch the recent battle report, you will notice that they kind of, on that big tower at the back, they kind of counted these sections as light. So they're kind of going against their own grain, unless that battle report was, you know, recorded and printed out a long time before they actually decided to make these particular rules, or even before the guys on the battle report knew these rules were coming out. Then at the back end, we've got a few what I would normally call narrative style missions with parts of the Spec Ops campaign. These are, they're all based around using the terrain features in the box. But there's 9 of them. It's quite a lot of missions, and some of these are quite nice, like with these different types of defenders section, different types of attackers section. Defending a position can be quite interesting to do. I wouldn't mind trying some of these missions with people that are not the kill teams from this box set. I think there'll be some really, really nice different alternative missions to do. Safe delivery is an example of escorting a piece of whatever. I mean, I'm not going too much into these because I don't want to get suspended. Quite a few nice missions. Some of them look very similar to the missions that I've already come across, just using different types of deployment zones. That is unique. That is very unique. But again, just, I mean, quite a few of these just look quite normal. They just look different. How do I put it? I suppose that's got yeah. How do I put it? They've got different deployments and different action points to do, but a lot of the missions can be quite samey, which is a bit of a shame. But I suppose when you're trying to churn them out as quick as you possibly can, then you are going to get that. You are going to get something that's quite samey. Oh wow, that looks like, if anyone remembers 2nd edition Warhammer 40k, that definitely looks like one of our original setups. Yeah, very much so. And then that's it for the book. You've got a T'au kind of sheet that shows you their stuff, and then you've got a Sisters of Battle sheet. I quite like that. I quite like the fact that both of the sheets have been developed to make it look quite unique. You know, they're more ancient, these guys are more high-tech. And that's it for that particular book. And that's it. That's the contents of that particular box. Hopefully that's, if you have watched this all the way through, it's made you decide whether or not you are wanting to get this particular box set. I'm just going to rest my arms down a little bit. It's not worth the price tag. I'll put it that way. You do get quite a nice set of buildings, but you don't get any rules. The main rule book is not in here. There's no tokens. It's an expansion, but it's a very, very expensive expansion pack. So I'll be honest with you, if you're going to buy it at full price, I don't recommend it. If you can find it somewhere cheap, go ahead and get it. But that's it. That's pretty much all the video. So if you did enjoy that, please like, share, subscribe, hit that notification button to see more. More battle reports should be coming, although it's getting towards that sort of time of year. I can't record one this week, so I do apologise, because of course we had Halloween on the weekend. Bonfire night is coming up this week, and we're a bit of a traditional family where we do stuff on those days, so it's quite difficult at the moment for me to be able to get a game in. But thank you very much, guys. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.